guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hey, wouldn't it be awesome if like one day you wake up and you have tons of people that are just like finding you and asking you to tutor their child? It would be so awesome, right? Oops,
I'm sorry.
something weird just happened there.
For a retired
Okay,
teacher
so
that
what
still
Oh
wants to
no,
teach.
now I have weird
Or
things talking
possibly
to me.
you're a
Hold on.
homeschooling mom and
Are we
you need
live?
a way to make
We are
an income.
live. Yes.
Either way,
We are
you are going to
live.
find useful
And now I
content
have
here.
something on my phone
Hi,
talking to
my
me.
name is Joanne Kaminsky,
And I can't get it to
have
stop
been tutoring
because
online
I
since
hit a button
2010,
that
and I've been
asked to
helping
call
teachers,
you, and
students,
I
and
didn't
homeschool
want to call
parents
you.
just like you
And
since
here we are. So
2012.
woo woo.
Now, I created this channel
So sorry to hear
get
it's
people
pouring by
started
you,
with
Ramona.
ideas to
That
think
really
about
stinks.
as they begin thinking about
Let's
tutoring
see
online. And yes, you can
if
teach from anywhere in the
I can
world,
get this to
including
turn off.
amazing beaches. But if you're teaching for more than 30 minutes, your computer
This is
will
not good,
overheat
guys.
and you will lose your Wi-Fi connection. Just saying. So in these videos, I'll be covering how to get started and answer frequently asked questions that people have about tutoring online.
All right.
You're going to get to see
We're going to keep going. I'm going to
interviews
talk
with
over my
tutors
voice that's
who have
talking to me on my
started their
phone.
business
And hopefully that
and
video
learn
ends
from
soon
their
so that,
successes
we
and
can
their
have
mistakes.
some
You're also going to get
going
to
on.
see reviews
All right,
of
so
the
you
best
guys,
resources to use
A lot
to
of
teach
people,
with.
they want to be
And
able
last but not
to,
least, you're going to get to see special
get
clips from
students
my
overnight,
community,
right? It would be really cool
Insider
if we could like
Secrets
put in
Club, and
one
learn how you can get
tool,
support
one
as you
option,
begin
one
this journey.
thing, and be able to
Now,
get
you can
students
expect
right out of the bat.
new videos every
Unfortunately,
Monday,
that's not
so
what
just hit
happens.
subscribe so
But
that you stay up to
blogging
date
is one of those
on the latest and
strategies
greatest
that makes
information
you
in
stand
the
out
online
from the
tutoring
everyday
industry.
average tutor that's out there. We're going to be focusing on a strategy that is part of what's called attraction marketing. And attraction marketing is where people are attracted to you versus you having to seek them out one by one. And blogging is one of those tools. So you guys keep watching because we're going to show you how to make you more valuable to your ideal client.
The intro over.
Yes, we are here. So I know, like some people will be like, okay, so my topic that I tutor is not that interesting. I mean, who wants me to hear what I have to say about my topic? But this is where so many tutors, I think, really get it wrong because everyone in the beginning, they're kind of looking for like this DIY solution of like maybe trying to help themselves or help their child. So if you give them tips on how they can do it, then you're being of value. And some of those people, they're going to get so frustrated doing it all by themselves and doing it the hard way that they're going to think of you as the first person to turn to when they need help with their child or themselves. And that is the goal that we want as tutors when we blog. And you know what? It works, you guys. But first, I want to thank Maria Jeffers for being a valuable member inside of our community. She is always in the chat. She's always adding comments and helping others. Whether you're joining us right now on YouTube Live or Facebook Live, I want to personally welcome you. And I see that we have Lynn Wilson in the house, and we've got Ramona. Thank you guys for being here. Matt Mankin, and lots of people saying hello to you as well, Suzanne. We've got
Hello, everyone.
let's see who we've got over here inside of our Facebook. We have Stina Schmidt in the house today. Isn't that cool?
Stina's a blogger. Yes.
That's so cool, you guys. So cool. I know that some of you guys are thinking, well, who is Stina Schmidt? Well, Stina actually was one of the people that Suzanne began, collaborating with when she began writing her own blog. So it's great that Stina is in the house as well. And what I want to know from you guys in the audience is, what is your biggest fear about blogging? Type that into the chat. Now, I have Suzanne Davis here, who has been a part of our community. I don't know, it's been like 5-6 years, I think. It's been absolutely like forever in a day. She's an academic writing tutor, and she's taught at the college level. Writing is her passion, you guys. Now, you have seen many tutors think that, hey, I don't have a writing background, so how in the world could I ever be, write my own blog, right? But what have your observations been, Suzanne, when it comes to that?
I think, in a way,
Oh, all of a sudden we
people
can't
who
hear you. Oh, I just can't hear you because my headset got taken over by my phone. See if I can fix it. You keep going. Comes to that.
I think people should,
in a way. Oh, all of a sudden we can't hear you.
all
Oh, I
right.
just can't hear you
So
because my
I can hear myself in replay now. Okay. So the thing about people being nervous about blogging and thinking their writing style isn't good enough is that a lot of times the people who don't
Yeah, I gotta
come
take
from
it
a
down.
writing background that are better at blogging because it's not the same type of writing style. It's not like writing that 5-paragraph essay or doing any of those things in school. So because it breaks those rules and because the writing style is more casual, it it is something that isn't as mysterious or as conventional. In fact, I was just having a conversation, Matt Megan, I hope you don't mind, where he was asking about some of the writing that I do because in some of my blogging and my other writing that's non-academic, I start sentences with the word so or and. Um, and he was like, but you can't do that. And I was like, you're right. In formal writing, one shouldn't do those things. But in blogging and other types of writing, those rules have gone away. They just don't exist. And so I think that that's very freeing. And as far as the writing out there, I think it's just one of the most exciting writing forms that we have right now is blogging.
We are experiencing lots of technical difficulties today.
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
This happened the
I know
last
you guys
time I
can
was
hear
on
me,
with
and
you.
you guys can hear Suzanne, which is really, really awesome. But one of the things I'm experiencing when my phone decided to take over my headset is I can't hear Suzanne. So I've been trying to just play with the settings here and trying to get out of the headset mode so you guys can still hear me, but I still am not able to hear Suzanne. So we are going to see it. Oh, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to change my headphones to do this. There, let's see if I can hear you now.
Can you hear me?
Nope, can't hear you. We're going to try this. All right, try it now.
Can you hear me?
Nope. All right, so we're going to go to just audio settings, test speaker. Okay, speaker should be able to hear me, but I can't hear anything there. So let me do this. Okay, I've got that set. Test mic. Mic is good.
Test mic. Mic is good.
Awesome. Now let's see if I can hear Suzanne.
Hi.
Yay, I can hear you now.
Oh, wonderful. The last time we were on a live, we had technical difficulties. So I think it's me. I don't know. I think
No, this is the cool thing, you guys, about going live is all of a sudden you start realizing, okay, I know when this happens, this is what happened. And so it was really just while I wasn't able to get things going as quick as I would like to, I'm now starting to understand what happened, why it happened, and be able to work around it. So, yay. I don't need to break up with OBS. That's the good news. So, lots of people are putting in here some of the fears that they have with being able to, with blogging. One person wrote that they cringe when they start a sentence with a preposition, but it is freeing too. They hate ending with a preposition.
Okay, I hate ending with a preposition. I really do. And I don't really begin with them. But I do find using and freeing. I recommend that.
Oh, right. Like starting a sentence with and?
Yes.
Yep.
I think,
And
yeah,
even
I was
one word
telling people
sentences, right?
before about starting with like and, so, and but. So that was the conversation you missed out on here.
No.
So I think that's why we got the preposition comment.
Got it. And someone else wrote in here that it's a commitment to blog regularly, and running out of things to write about is kind of like one of the problems that they're facing. And I think you're going to find that a lot of people kind of run into that when you are working solo all by yourself. You don't have people to be able to kind of piggyback off of and be able to get feedback ideas and get that idea kind of rolling. I find too that writing isn't all, like, the tough thing about writing is that a lot of people want to they write and then they stop, like they get stuck and they don't know how to keep rolling, and sometimes having conversations with other people can, you know, get the juices flowing again to be able to help you with that. And another person put in here, like, another struggle is like the process of blogging, and, you know, is there a different writing expectation for blogging and all of that great stuff. So, and I think this is a really big one. My biggest fear is I write the blog and nobody cares. Yeah, that's
Okay, that was mine.
Yeah.
That was mine. And guess what? In the beginning, nobody did really read it.
right.
I couldn't make relatives even read it. So just get past that. No.
Yeah.
Just know in your mind that you are doing something that has a longer term effect.
Right.
Okay, so maybe that people won't read that blog post that week.
Right.
Okay. There's nothing stopping them from reading your other blog posts or finding that blog post later, because it's indexed in Google, and when you type in search terms for that topic, people come back to that blog. I have a blog from 2 years ago that now has over 5,000 views. And it wasn't like when I launched that blog post, it was this huge, massive influx of people.
Mm-hmm.
That's just, they've been searching over time, and, you know, they all found it.
Yeah. You know, what was weird for me one day was when I took a look at how many people had actually subscribed to my blog, because I wasn't getting like a lot of people actually communicating on my blog. Like, I would add the element of a question for people to engage them, but I would find that people wouldn't really write a response or anything like that. And then one day I looked and I had like 4,000 subscribers to my blog, and I was like, wait, like, there's actually people reading my blog? Oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
So it gets you on out there. And, you know, honestly, I find that, you know, blogging is important because it's one of those strategies that I use to be able to get students from all over the world right off the bat. And, you know, I find that a lot of tutors, they want to put their names on lists. It's like one of the very first thing that they do, like, put me on a tutor list. Let me look for the other companies that I can work for and do that. But when you do that, you have to find your students one by one by one. You think that you're going to have them accidentally finding you. And unfortunately, you're putting yourself where all the other tutors are. You're not making yourself stand out. But when you have a blog, you now are standing out as an expert, somebody who knows what it is that they're talking about. You add value, and people care about being able to read the kinds of things that you are putting out there. And so it really has this powerful momentum that can happen inside of your business if you're willing to put in the time and the effort that it is going to require you to do. Now, you guys, today we are being sponsored by the Online Tutor Coach, LLC, and Suzanne is one of the coaches that you are able to work with if you choose to be able to work with one of the coaches. And right now we have a special until May 27th, where you're able to get a package of 4 30-minute sessions at 50% off. So if you're interested, Beth is going to put inside of the inside of the message. She's just going to put a link inside of there. So if you're interested in working with one of our coaches, you still have a few more days. Only 6 more days left for this special for people to pick it up. I've had some people ask me, well, can I purchase more than one 4-pack? Yep, you absolutely can. And Suzanne's a great coach to work with. She's worked with lots of people, specifically on their blogging or other things. She's even helped them with like Pinterest and getting their Pinterest up and going. So if any of those kinds of things interest you, you definitely want to be able to work with Suzanne. Now, the very first thing, you guys, when it comes to blogging, I know I kind of mentioned this. If you watched Monday's video, I talked about the first step is to read blogs, right? Like, because that way you're able to start seeing, okay, what are things that other bloggers do that I should be doing when I'm writing a blog post, right? Because writing a blog is not the same as writing an academic paper in college, is it?
No.
No.
Not at all. I don't see much comparison.
No, there really isn't much comparison. And so it's not something you're taught in school. It's not something that they would probably even like highlight in school, right? Like, because it's such a, next door neighbor kind of writing. Like, I want you to think about, like, when you guys are writing, you're not writing to your professor, or you're not writing to a boss. You're writing to your next door neighbor, and you're just casually talking with them. And so Suzanne's going to share with us what the elements of a blog are.
Okay, all right. So I have a blog post that I want to share my screen with.
Great.
And I'll walk you through what it looks like. So just a minute. Joanne, could you give me permission to screen share?
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm going to have to change that security feature I put into place that I didn't even realize I put into place for all videos.
Okay, yes. Zoom has been doing such a great job with these privacy things that, there's a lot of privacy and a lot of lack of knowledge about how to use.
Yes.
All right. So, to give you a sense of a blog post, there are different features that you really want to include in every blog post to make it easier to read, easier for people to share, and then also easier for it to be indexed in search engines and found. Okay, so I don't want to get into that too much with keywords, but I just want to tell you that formatting a blog really helps you with that. So this is a blog post I wrote a while back on descriptive essay prompts. So as Joanne mentioned, I'm an academic writing tutor and coach. But one of the things I did a lot was teach that first year writing seminar class at a university. If anyone's had to go through those, there were different styles of essays that people would write. So it wasn't just always academic essays. Sometimes it was personal narratives, and then also more descriptive writing. And so when I'm getting in the mindset of my client, I think of those things that I taught. And since one of them was descriptive essays, this came out of that thinking process. So you have here your title. So my title has the keywords in here, which is descriptive essay prompts. I use a number because numbers are very attractive to people. And that's just what you would call your H1 when you refer to, you'll hear people talk about headings and subheadings. Well, the title is called an H1 to a blog post. Right? Then I have my image. You'll notice that on my image, it's not just a picture, but it's a picture that has color and text. So here the text is just simply the title of that. This next feature here, this first line in bold, that's called a hook. All right. And that hook is usually that first sentence that people see. It might be longer. It might be that first sentence and then maybe a continuation along the story. The reason a blog post has a hook is because it's what draws the reader in and makes them want to read more about it. So this is your hook, and then a regular introduction. And then you'll see here that this is a headline. So this is a H2 is what you would call it. And again, I have my keyword in there. So it's how to select a descriptive essay. And you'll notice as I'm writing, I use some numbers. I don't have very long paragraphs here. In fact, I like to use a lot of white space that's easier for people to read. You'll see here again, I'm breaking it up into another subheading. So this is the actual creative descriptive essay prompts. That's another, what we would call H2. And then underneath this is a subheading of that subheading. So I don't know what you would call that. You would call it something.
An H3.
Yes, it is H3, but I don't know the title of it. So it is the H3, but I don't know whether you would call it beyond a subheading, what you would call it.
Sure.
Headline, I'm not sure. Anyway, it's that thing that you use in bold to cover just like a section. Okay, so all of this really is what we would call from here to the very end here. This is the body of your blog post. And so you'll see I have these small headlines. These are the numbers. This is, I believe, what you would call an H4. But you'll just notice visually that for each section, I'm using bold, but I'm also making it smaller depending upon how specific it is. You'll also see that I use numbers. Numbers make it very easy for people to read. And then I use other things in bold to emphasize different points. And after that, I have my conclusion. All right. And usually my conclusion sort of has, like a little bit of a wrapping up, but then also telling people what they can do next or giving them something significant.
Sure.
And this very last part here is called a call to action. And Joanne was just talking about one of them, like one call to action in a blog is to ask people to comment, to give them a question. Another call to action is to share it. Another call to action might be having a link to something, like a link to the Facebook group. So, hey, if you want more help with this, join my Facebook group, and here's the link to it. And people would take action. They join that Facebook group. Or another one that I use is I ask people to download a freebie that I've written for a blog post. And that way I get people on my email list.
Right.
So you'll also see that I recommend images in general, but I like to use infographics. Infographics are really nice visually. So for me, they'll sort of be like an outline almost, or like a tease of what the blog post is. And it focuses on some of the main points here. These are just the prompts. This is nice for anybody who's a visual learner, and also for sharing on Pinterest. Right? All right. So those are the basic elements that a blog post has. And as you'll see, it's not anything like anything academic.
Right.
And if you were to read those sentences through, you'd see I was using the second person that I'm writing, like I'm writing directly to a person. I use you a lot. So all of those things that you learned about how to write an essay or how to write a research paper, and people saying don't use the second person at all, throw that out the window, because people are looking for you to help them directly. So write to them directly.
Yeah. We actually did have, Mary Bowman had mentioned, hey, like some schools right now are doing, like they're teaching their students how to blog. But you got like people like me. I've been in the teaching world for a long time. When I went to college, like blogging wasn't even a thing.
No, when I was in grad school, it was.
Yeah.
Like they even made us have a blog. Here's how you set one up. Here's how you would set one up for your students. And so here's how you write a blog post. But it was nothing like the way you actually should be writing blog posts.
Right, because they're still probably wanting to look at, just certain refinement that is not really necessary. Now, we're not saying, you guys, you can't be grammatically correct.
No, I'm not saying that.
We're not saying like don't capitalize your letters on purpose. We're not obviously spouting that. Like you need to edit your work, right? You need to put a professional stance in there, but you really want to be able to write it at like a 4th, 5th grade writing level so that people can understand it, and it's not like it's filled with so much jargon that people can't understand it, right? Yeah.
And keep in mind, Hemingway wrote classics at the 4th grade level, and that was his ambition. So it's not like you can't convey really important ideas and really important meaning without throwing in a lot of academic ease.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you're not writing to other teachers.
Yeah. It's funny. Some of the people were saying, hey, when we were sharing the screen, that it was a little fuzzy. And Beth has a tip. She's going to share it with you guys inside of the comments because it's a matter of switching your settings to the higher quality. Oh, look, she's already writing that down. Because if you're watching this in the lower quality, that's what is actually going to hinder you from seeing things without it being blurry. So on your side, that's where you guys have to make that change in the settings. So I've had some people say they've already asked these questions inside of the group. How do you come up with time to be able to blog? And honestly, I find that it's really this next tip that we're going to be sharing with you that is how you find the time, and that is consistency. What do you think, Suzanne?
Well, yes, having a consistent schedule.
Yeah.
Of what you do when you do. So for some people, like they want to take a small amount of time each day. Mm-hmm. So maybe you want to do your planning one day, mm-hmm. So like you're thinking, okay, this is my topic, and you're doing that keyword research, which is something else I don't want to get into because that's technical, but doing that research phase and then the next day writing an outline of it or putting together like a first draft. So breaking it up that way. And then there's other people who are like, okay, I'm going to just sit down, take 2.5 hours and do this all at once. And that's good for them, like power to them. But they still do it on a regular, like, this is my schedule basis.
Right. I find that which we schedule, we do. And that which we don't schedule, we don't do. We're like, it's almost like an option or choice.
Yes. And the other thing I use is your advice in the beginning, like you want a student during this hour, put that hour on your calendar and then use that to do something mm-hmm. like for marketing. And guess what? Blogging is that attraction marketing.
Right.
So that's where you find the time, especially when you're starting out.
Yeah. So what Suzanne's saying is like, okay, so if you're like, I want 5 more students, put them on your calendar. Like if you have the time to work with 5 more students, you have the time now to be able to work on your blogging so that you can get those 5 students. So that's where it really kind of like you have to start thinking about a business way, right? Like, okay, how do I strategically do this, put it into place so that I can do that? And then I find that when I have a student not show up, it doesn't mean that I go on upstairs and I start playing with my kids. For me, it means I am going to be working on business aspects, and one of them might be blogging. Most likely it's going to be script writing for my videos, or coming up with webinars, or doing those kinds of things. Like I am focused on business tasks versus just kind of leaving it up in the air as to, oh, that's free. This is free time now.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a hard thing. It really is, especially I think in the beginning where you're not seeing immediately those students flooding to your website. And, it's easy to give up and to be discouraged about something, especially in the beginning.
Yeah. We have one of your accountability partners inside of the house today. We have Elaine Lingard. Woo, woo.
And Elaine, she just wrote an awesome blog post. It's on my timeline. But Elaine, you should put the link in the comments about it, because it really is, it's laid out well, and it's a really great blog post, and it's useful for anybody who needs math activities and resources.
Yeah. Now, how often do you personally blog? Do you blog weekly, monthly, bi-monthly?
Okay, I started off with weekly because I had no students. Now it's been mostly bi-weekly. I still do try to do weekly if I can. But when I'm not doing a blog post, I'm also doing a Facebook Live. So I do Facebook Lives now weekly.
Okay.
I'm trying to stick to that, and then the blog post at least every other week.
And then you're also repurposing content, right? So like some of your Facebook Lives are some of your content then for your blogs as well.
Exactly. Yep.
Yep. So it doesn't have to be just like one or the other. It can be a combo of different tools, but it doesn't have to be like different content. And I noticed you have a lot of videos, like in a lot of your blog posts, that you'll take some of the videos that you've done and you'll post them inside.
Yeah, I did that last week. So this was part of my repurposing strategy. So I had a series of Facebook Lives that I was also going to make into blog posts. And that series was for places that you could do online research, online academic research. So every Facebook Live was a video where I'm sharing my screen and doing like this quick tutorial on how to use that. And then last week's blog post was about those 4 resources, and 2 of those videos were embedded in that blog post.
Yeah, and that's a really, really great strategy because now it's like you're able to just kind of take online content and you're really able to speak to many different people. Some people like to read, some people like to look at the image to get their content. Some people are going to like to watch the video to be able to get their content. So it's a great mix of media that you're utilizing in your blogging strategy. That's not just always just writing.
Yeah.
Awesome. This is really, really cool. And Helen said, thank you so much, Helen McVeigh. She said, this is really, really helpful. So Stina mentioned that having some kind of, marketing campaign helped her to focus on what to blog about and give her like a sense of purpose and all of that kind of stuff. So very, very cool. And when it comes to consistency, you guys, I think a lot of us will think about blogging as an afterthought. Oh, I have some extra time. Let me see if I can work on that blog post. But it really does have to be something that you have some kind of a timeline. And another person has, well, what do you suggest for people to do for blogging? And that is going to be different for everybody. So there's not an answer like Suzanne's not saying you have to follow my strategy of blogging bi-weekly because that's what I do, right? It's
exactly
what is going to work for you. In the beginning, you may only be able to pump out 1 blog post in a month because you're trying to put all of the elements into place and you're trying to learn the strategy, you're implementing it, you're putting it into practice, you're learning how to, let's say, edit inside a Canva to create an image. Some of these things, they take more time in the beginning. And then once you get comfortable with like, okay, here's how the pieces fit together, here's how I do it, now I can come through and I can write maybe twice a month versus every. Or some of you may be like diehards, like go for it. When I started, okay, this is going to sound so insane. When I started blogging, I joined a 30-day challenge and we had to write a new blog post every single day.
I know about that challenge because there's a book about that challenge.
Yeah, that was a lot of writing for me to do, but I had decided, you know what, I'm going to take that. I'm going to take these entire blogs and I'm going to write a book. I'm going to put it on Kindle and I'm going to repurpose this. And I still have people today that find my book 30 Days to Become a Better Reader and purchase it to be able to help their child with reading.
But I don't want to scare people that they have to be a blogger who blogs every day.
No, for sure not.
That's not the strategy that people use now. Like
it really isn't.
They were originally doing that. It was shorter blogs,
right,
every day, and now what's more important are those longer blogs,
right?
And you can do less often. You know, you could be one of those people who just does once a month if you're doing once a month regularly, but write a good blog,
right?
You know, put some, I don't want to say meat because I'm a vegetarian, but put some meat substitute in your blog post.
We're going to put tofu in there?
No, actually I'm not big into tofu, but you know, I do like the crumbles and stuff and the black bean burgers and those things. But you get my point.
Yes.
Good content.
Good content. It's got to be good content. I know that somebody else had mentioned, they had said something about, well, what do I don't know what to write about. And we are going to be sharing a strategy next week that's going to be helping you specifically with that. Suzanne is going to be doing a webinar. And get this, you guys, it is called How to Be a Great Blogger, Even If Writing Isn't Your Thing. Okay, so if you want to join that, Beth is going to throw a link inside of the description so that you can sign up for her webinar where she's going to be actually going into some details on actual writing tips that you can take into consideration as you're writing. And she's going to have checklists and she's going to have, handouts, because this is what Suzanne does, you guys. So you're not going to want to miss that. She's going to have some really great, valuable content for you. And then we have some surprises for you that we're not even going to share with you here. So definitely click on the link as soon as Beth puts that in there and sign up for her webinar. It's going to be really, really awesome. And you'll be able to join us on Zoom, be able to ask her questions in person versus having to do it through just like messaging and that kind of stuff. Matt said he's in. Remember Matt?
Oh, I know Matt.
You do know Matt.
Yes, I know
I think
Matt.
you and Matt kind of joined the community right around the same time.
I think Matt was in there before me.
Okay.
Yes, because we teach similar students.
You do.
And we have similar backgrounds. We both have taught at the university and both ESL writing.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right.
Yep, I know Matt.
Awesome. Well, you guys, there is one more tip that we really wanted to be able to share with you guys. And this tip is really, 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 really important. And I think this helps, like, for those people who are like, where do you find that time? This is a big piece of making sure that you are making the right time. Okay. When I got started writing my blog, I was part of that group, that community, that 30-day challenge. And it was really cool because I got to actually know different people through that. I actually met my business coach through there. And I ended up meeting some other people that like regularly came to my blog, and they began commenting on my blog so that I didn't feel like a lone island. And I got to tell you, that was a huge saving grace for me. And I know for Suzanne, she also had put this into practice with her blogging, and she had joined up with Stina,
Yes.
who
Stina
is inside of here.
Yep, she has like a blogging a group that she started when way back.
Yep.
Yeah. Stina, it must be what, like maybe 2 years ago.
Yeah.
That she started, and that does help.
It definitely helps. So our very last tip for you guys is, are you ready? Accountability.
Yeah.
Get an accountability person, get an accountability group, and we're going to share all about a new accountability group that you can actually join when you come to the webinar next week. So if this is of interest to you and you're like, well, where do I find an accountability group? Well, definitely come join us there, because you're going to be learning a lot more about that, what it's going to look like and all of that. But tell us what your experience was, Suzanne, with that accountability group that you had with Stina.
It was really helpful, because I wanted to have something to say and something to share, and because I think for those of us in writing, it's hard to just sit down and write without being accountable for someone. I'm somebody who struggles with that.
Yeah.
I totally do. I totally feel like, oh, I've got writer's block. I don't know what to write about. But having like a deadline and having to meet people and talk about my progress, what I've actually done, or say what I actually haven't done, applies just enough pressure.
Yeah.
I think, at least for me.
Do you ever get stuck on like what you should write about, and your group kind of gave you some ideas or suggestions?
Oh, definitely. Yes. Yeah, definitely hearing from other people. I have accountability partners, and I'm not going to give away what Elaine is doing, but Elaine was talking about a certain, train of thought that she's going to be using with her blogging. And I was like, wait a minute, that's really good. I could do that for older students,
Yeah.
So it definitely does help. And I find that in my blogging classes, like a lot of the people who are in that blogging class will come up with an idea, and somebody else is like, oh, that's a really great idea, and they're not doing the same topic,
right?
But it gets them connecting and thinking about some of the needs that their students have,
right?
And the parents feel,
Yeah. And that accountability then turns into just getting better results, because when I'm just thinking all on my own, I can easily get stuck. But now when I'm getting all these new ideas from other people, like, oh, here's what they're writing about, it doesn't mean I have to write about that same exact topic, but all of a sudden I might get a brainstorm like, oh, I could look at it from this point of view or that point of view. And that kind of stuff is like absolutely invaluable, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
For sure. Yeah. And so do you actually, you were mentioning before about reading Elaine's blog that she had written. I don't think she shared it with us, but you had read her blog. Why did you do that?
Well, because we're in. She's one of my accountability partners, but she was also in my blogging class. And when the first time we went around, and she's a really good writer. I find her things useful. I wouldn't share her blog posts if I didn't find them useful and I didn't think they were good.
Wait, so you share her blog posts on top of it?
Well, yeah, I shared it on my timeline because, there's other people out there looking for the same things, that, in fact, I saw a lot of people asking questions about, like, where could they find math resources that they could use with kids?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, hey, I read her blog and there's this blog post. So yeah, of course I shared
it. So that's
a no-brainer.
That's like I think that's really like an important part of that accountability partnership as well. It's like, it's not just like you're just there giving them ideas and helping them become, each other, really helping each other become better writers, but you're also getting that ability to connect with other people who see value in what you're writing and share it with others as well. And it's not like you're forced to share other people's content. You're sharing the content because you know that your audience may find value in it as well.
and I shared it where I thought they would, you know. It was
Right.
like, for me, it was that timeline more than, you know, my academic writing business page.
Right. That
Because
that
I
wouldn't
know
have made any sense, right?
who's where, you know.
Exactly. So it's really knowing like, okay, where would it be appropriate for me to share it? Because, you know, you have your own audience too, and you have to kind of know like what's going to be useful for them. You're not just sharing in random places. You're sharing so that it's of value to people that would be able to read it as well. So you're not seen as somebody who's just like randomly putting other people's like blog posts in places where it just doesn't even really fit or seem necessary. So I think that's really, really important, you guys. So if you guys are interested, definitely join us for Suzanne's webinar next Wednesday. It's 1 o'clock p.m. Central, 2 o'clock Suzanne's time. She's in the East Coast over there. And it is called, again, How to Become a Great Blogger, Even If Writing Isn't Your Thing. I should have just taken like the G out of there just for fun. Writing isn't your thing. No, I won't do it.
No, don't do that. That would drive me nuts. That would. There are certain things that do drive me nuts, and I don't advocate.
Well, and a landing page. So I can't apply then blogging rules to a landing page, can I?
No.
No, I can't go into LinkedIn and just take my blog post as is and put it inside of LinkedIn. Because LinkedIn is a professional site, right? So you want to actually write a little bit more academically on LinkedIn. And so I think I think a lot of times like people hear like this one strategy and they like misapply it everywhere else. And it is
Right.
really careful. You have to be really careful and really know who your audience is when you're writing so that you write the appropriate stuff in the right place. And people don't see you as being an unintelligent tutor.
Right. Or like the mistake people make where they write on a landing page, sort of when they do the landing page style on their blog, you know, it's different because on the landing page, you're trying to sell something,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and so you do there's this angle of what you can do for them, and a blog post should not be salesy.
Right.
You can promote something, but the way you promote it is entirely different. You don't want to use that same language.
Right. Right.
Yeah. And it's definitely different for LinkedIn.
Definitely.
It's definitely more formal. Don't do my and so and but thing there.
Which I missed because I was not able to hear her. That was really a lot of fun, you guys. To you have a guest that's on and like they're speaking, their lips are moving, and you can tell that everybody else can hear because your audio is working on. Like OBS was like showing me, it was lighting up for you when you were talking. So I was like, oh crud, it's lighting up. That means they can hear her. It's just me that can't hear her. That's going to be a problem.
I know, and I was really feeling the pressure. I was like, okay, I guess I'm just going to have to share everything I know about blogging until you can't hear me soon.
So you guys, you're probably going to make mistakes on your blog, just like today. Like we had technical difficulties on this live stream, right? And at the end of the day, the goal is just to keep getting better and better and really being able to educate yourself in a way that allows you to get better and better. So don't miss out next Thursday. Come join us, because I'll be honest with you guys. Why do we care so much about blogging? Blogging is still a thing. People still prefer the written language over listening to a video because they can skim and they can scan. They can use those elements that Suzanne was showing you before, and they can take a look and be like, oh, that's information I want to know more about, and they can read a little bit more for the details. But because you can just kind of glance at that information and be able to take in so much at one time, blogging is still a method that lots of people will prefer over having to listen to a 20-minute video. I know sometimes it's like, you don't have time to listen to a 20-minute video, right?
Right, but a blog post may take me 5-7 minutes to read.
Or not even. It might take you 3
Or
to
not
4,
even.
right? Like you just go
if
through.
I'm skimming,
Mm-hmm.
then I'm focusing on, okay, this is the whole shape of the blog post, but these are the parts I'm most interested in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Plus, it's what I love about blogging is not many tutors are doing it,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I really stand out I have yet to find another academic writing tutor blog.
Isn't that
I find
awesome?
academic writing tutors on YouTube,
Mm-hmm.
and they, they're more interesting than me on YouTube. But I do my best on YouTube. I still am there,
Yes.
but not that many academic writing tutors are blogging. I can find academic writing blogs from companies that sell essays because they're trying to get people to, who have the same problem, like they don't know how to write something, and then their solution is, hey, hire me as somebody who can write your essays. And I find academic writing blogs from university professors, and I find them from university online writing centers. But I'm different, and I get to be a little bit freer and a little bit more relatable and write like I would teach people in a classroom. And I really like that. I just picture students I've had or students that I'm tutoring, and I think of, well, how would I help them with this problem?
Right.
What would they need? And how can I communicate that?
Right. Yep, absolutely. And you guys, I want to just thank all of you guys for coming and joining us today. And thank you, Suzanne, for coming and joining us. Now, if you guys know the boom cha, I want you guys to throw a boom cha inside of the dialogue we have going on in here. So it is just the fist and the firework, but I'm going to do it for Suzanne because I'm so excited that she joined me today on this webinar, on this live stream. We were able to get everything fixed, and it's all good. All right, so on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, boom, cha.
Thank you. And that was invented by Matt Mankin. So if he's still here, shout out to Matt.
Shout out to Matt. He helped us create that. Awesome. Well, you guys enjoy the rest of your day. I will see all of you soon. Bye, everyone.
Cheers.